Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conjunction video of the week. And today we're going to be covering Sun and Rahu in the 10th house of your horoscope. As in, what happens when Sun and Rahu are conjunct in the 10th house together. And as always, if we do not know if you have this particular position, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Vedic Astrology Academy, where I am currently teaching Mahadasha course. So, Sun and Rahu in the 10th house. Now, as you know, Sun receives a full directional strength in the 10th house. So, what happens is because Rahu is going to behave like the planets is conjunct alongside the dispositor and nakshatra lord, Rahu itself feels like it has directional strength. It becomes just as powerful as the sun. So what happens here in the 10th house? Naturally, a person feels like that they're born to be a leader. Their ego kind of inflates because they feel like I deserve to be here. How dare you deny that to me? This is also the placement that brings in quite a bit of fame, support from government, okay, support from authorities, and that too, truly, I would say, depending upon how the sign placement of the sun is, or what aspects in conjunction this particular placement receive. But one thing we also see is that a person do tend to deal with certain psychological issues, especially stemming from the mother. And with Sun Rahu in the 10th house, one has the capacity to kind of like overshadow everybody else in their work, around their work. Because 10th house represents the work, right? It represents the society outside. It represents, pretty much the external world. So what happens with Sun and Rahu, in a way, it's kind of like that eclipse you see. When moon comes right in front of the sun, and it's like the only glorified thing that impacts everything. Like that is the most grandiose phenomenon in the cosmos, in the sky, from the standpoint of Earth. So this is where a person has the natural ability to kind of like stand out amongst other people because of whatever they bring, whether it's their work ethics, whether it's their persona, whether it's their personality, whether even if it's their ego. Now, on some end, this can bring a very neutral, happy ego. Especially if, let's say, Jupiter somehow impacts this particular conjunction, a person will have a very confident ego. It won't be like fake ego that look at me, and then they're empty inside. And Sun Rahu also in the 10th house shows that a person, could feel cheated and scammed by their bosses, by their authorities. And that could spring due to, issues of jealousy and possessiveness. And one of the things we also see is that if your father is still in the picture, and you're in that age of marriage, father will either dispute your decision to marry someone, or your decision to marry someone will be based on the father. That's one important thing. And usually you will see that through marriage, this person's life and career skyrockets with Sun Rahu in the 10th house. Now, one of the things we see is that this person will not find favors from foreigners, foreign people, foreign governments. But they they actually, and this is kind of like a very unique position here then with Sun and Rahu, is that a person benefits through enemies. The more the enemies, the merrier for this individual. Somehow, some way, they benefits through enemies, they get raised from enemies, they attain status, wealth from enemies. So for such people to be in a competitive environment is extremely important versus just being in a place where they have the monopoly on everything. If one has a monopoly on everything, they will flatten out and they will plateau. For example, let's say if you look at, Amazon, Google, these are monopolies. Now, if this person was controlling these monopolies, they will leave. They will not have interest because they're like, there's nothing that I need, that I'm being challenged by. These people have to be in an environment where they have to compete with someone else. Only then this dynamic of Sun and Rahu becomes active. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of Sun Rahu in the 10th house of your chart. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your Sun Rahu are placed, all your astrological details, my consultations, check out the links here in the shop section. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.